Hi everyone, welcome back. And in this video, we will continue our discussion to the next step. And let me just bring the architecture in here so we can see. Yeah. So if I come in here and if I go to the actual architecture, so we have seen in the last two video how we can get the eBay token and the eBay dataset, but we are using the sandbox environment. But all that we have done into Postman. So in this video, what we're gonna do, we're gonna replicate it using our Python code, and we'll see how we can implement it using Python, because later on we will enhance it with the Gen AI, where we're gonna use the OpenAI API to run the analysis on the data set, and then we'll extract the top five items based on the popularity. So that's the whole concept of building this solution. So let me just quickly go and revise. Let me just move this. Yeah. If I come in here, because I think I need to change the mod. Okay. Okay, now it's better. So let me just take it. So here, now what we are going to do, we are going to now run the same thing, but through the Python, because we want to extend this code and we need to build a software that can perform this smart market analysis role into our organization, right? So let me just bring this guy in here. Hopefully it will adjust. I'm just going to increase the view because I want to make sure it has been captured properly within the recording. So what I can, let me just, I think that's better. So quickly, if we just come onto the codes, so I have divided it into four procedures, right? So the top one is, and it goes from bottom to top. So I'm just gonna, once I start explaining the flow, you will understand it, right? But just at a high level, we have a procedure which we'll use to get the token from eBay, and you can see the name is reflecting get eBay token. And then we have search eBay products, which we use to make the call to search the product based on the query. And then obviously we are calling this function from an other, where we have the eBay procurement agent, because that's a bridge. It's going to extract the data from eBay and then it's going to pass to LLM so it can process it and it can return us the result based on our prompt. And the last but not the least, because we are not only building this agent for eBay, so that's why I put the option where we can run it based on the flag if you want. We can run it for eBay, we can run it for Amazon. It really depends what API interfaces are available, and we can just enhance our solution based on the available distributor or the portals, right? So initially we're just going to do it for two, like eBay and Amazon, right? So in this demo, I'm just going to show you the whole end-to-end solution from the eBay perspective, because eBay I already have the API key, so I can do the full solution using only the eBay, but the enhancement for the other portals follow the same pattern. Okay, and then we have our main function, which is gonna call all these function in a sequence based on our defined steps, and last but not the least, we are calling our main function. So now let's jump on the understanding. We are searching phone, and we want to see which phones are most popular, and we need to pick top five phones so we can see, and based on that we can either offer the same listing on eBay just from the selling perspective, or we can do other kind of action, depends upon the business case. And then we are calling procure product function. So let's move to the procure product. And like I mentioned, it's more like the controller or handler, which based on the flag, it will call the respective routine. So currently we only have one for eBay. So you can see eBay procurement agent. So it's going to call the eBay procurement agent. And eBay procurement agent is the one who is going to drive the whole show. It's going to get the eBay token, it's going to get the eBay data, after searching or making a call, the get call to eBay API. And once it gets the listing, it's gonna pass it alongside with the prompt to LLM. So it can run the analysis and it can generate the outcome based on our defined instructions. So these all these steps gonna come in the later videos, but in here, to keep things simple, we just decompose it step by step. So first we are going to call the search eBay product, because our first job is to get the eBay data, right? That's what we have seen in the last video. We did it in the Postman. Now we are going to replicate it in the development environment. So search eBay product, if I come in here and look at the search eBay product, so that's my search eBay product. The very first thing, and you can see I'm already passing the query into all function, because the query we need to pass all the way to the point where we need to make a call to eBay to send us the result based on our query. And that query is a keyword, like it can be a phone, it can be, for example, a lamp, it can be anything that you want to search, that what is popular. So you can see the data set, or you can see the analysis, and based on that you can define your own marketing strategy, right? And we put a limit for 20, that initially we are just asking to return us the 20 results, right? Obviously it will change, depends upon once we go live or once we go into production, how much data we need to, because these portals are massive, and obviously getting the data is going to charge you, right? Secondly, we can enhance our query prompt based on the timing or based on the filters that we can define. And every API is different, they allow different kind of filters, but that's a separate discussion. If you have worked in the API environment before, you know what I'm talking about. And these are all part of the integrations that we generally implement and heavily depend upon the capabilities of the target API that we are calling, right? But in here we're gonna keep things simple, so I'm just putting a limit of 20. I just need 20 result from eBay, and based on those 20 results I'm going to extract the top 5, right? But we can increase this to 50 or 100, and it's not going to harm us. Okay, the very first thing, I'm going to get the token. So you can see I have a separate procedure, because in this way I got the advantage. I can put into my library and I can recall or I can reuse that file in other project as well, because all I need to just reference that file and I can call that function. But here, just for the simplicity, I merge all these procedures together into one file. So get eBay token, if you look at, it's exactly the same. We are just doing the same thing that we did in the Postman, but obviously it follow the Python syntax. So the very first thing, we need our key and secret. And like I mentioned, you need to contact to or you need to log on to the eBay application developer program, and you need to get your credential, because you have to apply it. And once you get it, your eBay client ID and your eBay client secret, you are going to pass your to your solution. One thing and one best practice, never ever hard code your client ID or secret in your code, because if you mistakenly release that code or you share the code with the community, remember your ID and client secret is going to use by other people who has access to your repo or who has access to your code, because they can use that and they can make call on your behalf, right? So that's where, and if it is costing you, then it's going to be very dangerous, because it might increase the budget or it might increase the cost for you, because you don't know how many people are using those keys from your program. So never ever ever use the any password or any sensitive data within the file, right? Always use the separate file. So in here you can see I have the dot environment file where I'm keeping all my configuration file, and I'm getting those values from the os.get environment command. So what it does, it will help me, because you need to first import the os library, and os will allow you to get the data from your config file. So let me quickly just show you. I'm not going to open the file because it has the actual key and secret. So you can see .env file I have already created in my project folder, and what it does, it once we run it, you're gonna see it's going to get the client ID and client secret, and it stored them into these two variable in the runtime, right? And once we have this, we're just gonna merge them, put it into a syntax where we're creating the credential and we are encoding them into base 64. These are all the way that we generally do to prepare the authentication call to get the token. Very simple. And if you have already worked in the API, these are the more like the steps that you need to follow to establish a connection if you are using JWT token, right? So the pattern is going to be the same, right? And then we have the header, and you can understand this header exactly the same way we have seen in the Postman. We are using content type application, again another attribute that we have used from the Postman. So that's if someone asks why we need to do it, so that's how we make a call to any API that accept the that use the JWT authentication, and that accept your ID and secret and return you the JWT token. In order to talk to these APIs, we need to follow this pattern or follow this flow, right? So that's the simplest concept of understanding that why we are writing these commands. The next one is the data, what we are passing on. So in here, we are passing two main thing, and we have already discussed in the previous video. We are passing the grant type, which shows, which tells the API that we are using JWT token, and they already have configured that at their end. So client credential means that we're gonna pass the client ID and client secret. And based on that, the API is going to generate the JWT token. Last but not the least in the data is the scope. And scope we have already discussed that what we are authorized to do. So one thing to authenticate ourselves. Okay, we are legitimate, or we are allowed to see the other side of the world. Now, what we can do, what our permissions, what our boundaries of authority are, that something has been defined as part of the scope, right? So that's where what we are defining in the scope. And then we have the response, and response is going to get the data or get the token or get the information back, because what we are doing, we are now creating a post call for the API, and you can see we are calling request is the library which allow you to make a post or get calls from the API. And here we are passing the post call, and we are getting the response because we need to receive a response in some variable, so we are just receiving it in the response, right? So by the way, one thing, you can make it all asynchronous, like you don't need to wait, because sometimes the data which is returning from the API takes time. So you can continue the execution of your program, but also you can wait, and then you can once it has been processed or you receive the result, then you can move to the next step. It really depends upon what kind of business question or use case you are addressing, right? Okay, now once we get the response and it is a successful response, we're gonna get the outcome in the JSON format, right? And in that JSON, we can get the attribute by passing the area, sorry, the tag name. So in here, that means that the JSON we will return to us gonna have access token, and we can passing the name of access token is gonna give us the value of that attribute. So which is a common JSON template or format that we generally use it, right? So up to this point, we have now got our token, and we can now see that token even printed on our screen. So what I'm going to do, let me just run up. Uh, yeah, I think I can run it up to this point. So what I can do, yeah, it's let's do this way. Yeah. So in main, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to, well, after this, I'm going to get eBay token. Do I need to pass anything? No, I don't think I need to pass anything. Let me see. Yeah, I don't need to pass anything. And what I will do after this, I will just return. Right. So all the you can see it's suddenly get uh, dull or dark, because these commands are not going to return, not going to run, because we are already returning it, right? So, and let me also clear this data as well. All right, so we don't have anything. So you can see in here, we are good to go. And what we are going to do, we are going to get the token from eBay API portal, right? So based on that token, we're going to start communication with the eBay API. So let me just run it. So we are passing phone as a query, but it's not going to be functional because right now we're on the very first step where we are establishing a connection with the eBay API. So you can see I'm running the get eBay token, and you can see the command was successful because we are getting this token, and this token is legitimate. It's not going to be changed for, I think, for next 15 minutes, and we'll use this token to make our next call. So our first step is successful. Based on this function that we have discussed, we can see the outcome uh, in the output window, right? But anyway, we generally won't use it for any other purpose because we are going to store it safely, and we make a call based on by passing this token to our next call to eBay. So hopefully that makes the concept easy to understand and clear. And I'll split it into multiple videos so you can easily grasp it. And if you are stuck on, because if I remember last time once I was doing the AWS, many people struggle with the code. So that's why I put it in the logical chunks. So we're gonna discuss each and every chunk in a separate video. So if you are implementing it and if you are stuck, you can see the relevant part of the video, or you can get the information. And if you have any question, you can put the comment into the respective section of the video of the series, and I can answer that, right? But I believe it's going to be very simple. What I'll do, I'll also add the repo link in the description, so you can go and you can get the full code from there for your own run. So hopefully it will be helpful, and I'll see you in the next video where we're gonna make a call to eBay. Thanks for watching.